Hi, so I'm David Siegel, former state representative, former member of the Providence City Council. So thank you for coming, and I want to thank all of the newly elected officials or primary winners for being here. It's a very exciting and bewildering time in one's life, and I think it's great that they're jumping right into the fray. This pandemic and the attendant economic crisis and budget crisis combined to create what's probably the most important political moment we've faced since I first moved to Rhode Island nearly 20 years ago. And we need progressives in and outside of the Assembly to fight to make sure that conditions aren't worsened by substantial cuts to key functions like education, healthcare, and support for cities and towns. And unfortunately, we're already seeing state-driven consequences in that latter category of concern. And so given the right-wing politics of our country over the last several decades, it's a minor miracle that in the early 90s, the state created a tranche of funding that specifically goes to the state's most impoverished cities and towns, called the Distressed Communities Fund. Yet in January, Governor Raimondo, even though she's the first person elected as a Democrat to the governorship of Rhode Island this century, proposed to slash those funds in half. And now, even though the Assembly has not passed a budget, Raimondo, working through the Department of Administration, led by Smiley, who based on his time working for Providence, knows just how precarious the city's finances are, is cutting this distressed funding unilaterally. They're doing so by fiat, seemingly in violation of the law during the middle of a pandemic and economic crisis. They're attacking impoverished cities where the bulk of the state's non-white population lives, even while these state leaders use empty rhetoric as they try to align themselves with the increasingly prominent popular movement against structural racial inequities. We need lawmakers, new and old, to come together and prevent cuts like these. And because of the supermajority requirement to pass a budget, just 1/3 of lawmakers in either chamber can come together and block these cuts. Many have already signaled that they're willing to be part of that effort. And there's precedent for this. Back in 2009, during the last economic crisis, when I still served in the House, a group of us came together to do just this. And while we didn't win everything that we wanted, we blunted cuts and secured an increase in progressive revenues. There are far more progressives in the House and also in the Senate now than there were then, and that's true even before new people like those who are with us today are installed. And we need them to come together now and wield their structural power to protect everyday Rhode Islanders from the fallout of this pandemic. And I'm so thrilled that we'll be adding to their ranks folks like those here today, all of whom represent those distressed communities and who have pledged to fight for a progressive budget. Thank you.